Imagine a world of golden cities, shining palaces, and endless trade ships sailing across bright blue waters. Kings and queens ruled vast lands, writing letters to each other on clay tablets and sharing precious gifts. This was a time of wealth, art, and power. But then, almost in the blink of an eye, the lights went out. The grand palaces burned to the ground. The bustling trade routes fell dead and silent. A thick shadow swallowed the entire known world. This great disaster happened around the year 1200 BCE. It is known today as the Bronze Age collapse. Before this dark time, the lands around the Mediterranean Sea were home to giant, powerful nations. They had giant armies, rich farms, and towering stone walls. But within just a few decades, almost all of them vanished. The kings lost their crowns, the writers forgot how to write, and the Golden Age turned into ash. To understand what was lost, we must look at how these people lived. Picture a busy harbor filled with wooden boats. Sailors unloaded heavy blocks of raw metal, sweet-smelling oils, and fine pottery. Merchants shouted in different languages, trading goods from lands thousands of miles away. A single bronze sword might be made from copper mined in one country and tin brought from another. Everything was connected in a beautiful, delicate web of life. But that fragile web began to tear. The sky, which had always brought rain for the crops, slowly turned cruel. The dark clouds stopped coming, and the hot sun baked the earth year after year. Rivers that once flowed with life turned into dry ribbons of cracked mud. Without water, the green fields turned brown, and the golden wheat withered away. A deep, gnawing hunger began to creep across the ancient world. We know about this terror because of messages left behind in the dirt. Deep in the ruined city of Ugarit, diggers found a desperate letter baked into a piece of clay. The words were written by a king, crying out for help. He told his friends that enemy ships had arrived on his shores. He wrote that his towns were burning and his people were terrified. The clay tablet was found still sitting in the oven, never sent. The king of Ugarit was writing about a terrifying group we now call the Sea Peoples. These were mysterious warriors who seemed to come from nowhere. They struck from the waves, raiding coastal towns and burning everything in their path. For a long time, history painted them as evil pirates who single-handedly destroyed the ancient world. They were the monsters in the dark, bringing fire and sword to peaceful shores. But the truth of that time is much sadder and much more human. The people living in those coastal towns woke up to smoke on the horizon. Mothers grabbed their children and ran to the hills. Farmers watched their life's work go up in flames. The grand armies of the kings were nowhere to be found, leaving simple folks to face the raiders alone. The terror of those days is hard to fully imagine. The mighty Hittite Empire was one of the greatest powers of this era. They ruled over vast mountains and wide plains, commanding thousands of chariots. They had fought the greatest armies in the world and won. Yet, even they could not stand against the turning tide. Their massive stone gates and thick walls proved useless. The empire did not just lose a war, it completely shattered into pieces and vanished from the map. Today, the wind howls through the empty ruins of the Hittite capital. You can walk among the giant stones that once held up temples and palaces. The rocks are still black from the intense fires that burned the city down. Diggers have found storehouses that were meant to hold grain, completely empty. The silent stones whisper tales of a proud people who simply ran out of food and luck. Scientists have looked closely at the natural world to find out why the food stopped growing. They studied the rings inside ancient trees and the layers of mud at the bottom of old lakes. The wood and dirt told a clear story of a massive, terrible climate change. A mega drought had gripped the land. It lasted not just for a few years, but for over 100 years. The earth simply stopped giving life. Faced with this drying world, the ancient people tried everything to survive. They dug their wells deeper and deeper into the dirt, chasing the vanishing water. They built secret underground tunnels to protect their last remaining springs. Priests offered precious gifts to the sky, begging the storm gods to bring back the rain. But the gods remained silent, and the wells finally ran dry. Across the sea, the famous Mycenaean civilization was facing the exact same nightmare. These were the legendary heroes of early Greece, living in giant fortresses built on high hills. Their walls were made of stones so huge that later people thought giants had stacked them. Inside these walls, kings sat on painted thrones, surrounded by gold and fine art. They thought they were completely safe from the dying world outside. But those giant walls could not stop the hunger, and they could not stop angry, starving people. As the crops failed, the poor farmers likely turned against their rich kings. Fires broke out inside the mighty fortresses. One by one, the great palaces of Greece fell. The beautiful paintings peeled off the walls, and the gold was stolen away into the dark. The heroes of the age were gone. It was the very connections that made these empires rich that also caused their doom. Because they all relied on each other for trade and food, when one fell, it dragged the others down. It was like a row of falling blocks. If a city in the east stopped sending tin, a city in the west could no longer make bronze tools. The whole system was too fragile to survive the shock of a changing world. This brings us back to the mysterious invaders from the water. Who were they really? Many experts now believe the sea peoples were not just bloodthirsty pirates. They were likely hungry refugees, running away from their own ruined, dried-out homelands. They packed their families onto boats and ox carts, searching desperately for a place that still had food. They were victims of the Great Collapse, just like the people they attacked. Only one great nation managed to survive the storm, and that was Egypt. The Egyptian king gathered his armies to defend the Nile River from the starving invaders. He set a trap in the shallow waters of the river delta. When the enemy ships sailed in, the Egyptian archers fired thousands of arrows from the shores. The water turned red, and the invaders were finally stopped. The story of this massive fight is carved into the giant stone walls of an Egyptian temple. If you look closely at the carvings today, you can see the chaos of the battle. You see enemy boats tipping over and men falling into the water. The Egyptian artists wanted to show how powerful their king was, crushing the terrifying threat from the sea. It is a snapshot of the world ending, frozen in stone. But the carvings also show something deeply sad. Mixed in with the enemy warriors are pictures of wooden carts pulled by slow oxen. Inside those carts are women and small children. This proves that the invaders were entire families on the move. They had brought their wives, their kids, and their few belongings to the edge of Egypt. They were not an army of conquest. They were a broken people, looking for a new home. Even though Egypt won the battle, the effort nearly killed them. The great empire was left weak, poor, and tired. They lost their trading partners and their rich lands across the sea. The gold stopped flowing into the king's pockets. Egypt would survive, but it would never again be the shining, unstoppable superpower it once was. The golden age was officially over for everyone. What followed was a long, quiet, dark age. The busy harbors rotted away, and the great trade ships sank to the bottom of the sea. People forgot how to read and write because there were no more kings to keep records. The survivors lived in small, simple farming villages, hiding among the ruins of palaces they no longer understood. The world became a much smaller, scarier place. For modern diggers, uncovering this dark time is like reading a sad mystery book. When they dig down into the dirt, they find a thick layer of black ash covering almost every major city from that time. Beneath the ash are broken pots and crushed walls. Above the ash, there is often nothing but empty dirt for hundreds of years. The dirt itself tells the story of a world that stopped breathing. Yet, humans are incredibly stubborn, and they always find a way to keep going. Because the trade routes were broken, people could no longer make tools the old way. So, they had to invent something new. They learned how to take ordinary rocks and bake them into iron. Iron was harder to make, but the rocks were everywhere. From the ashes of the old world, a new age of iron was born. The fall of these ancient empires holds a mirror up to our own time. It shows us that no matter how big or rich a society becomes, it is always tied to the earth. When the climate shifts and the crops fail, even the strongest walls cannot hold back the hunger. The delicate webs of trade that connect us are easy to break. The past warns us that nothing lasts forever. Walk through the quiet, grassy hills of Greece or the dusty plains of Turkey today, and you can still feel the weight of what happened. The giant stones of the ruined palaces lie exactly where they fell over 3,000 years ago. They are monuments to human brilliance, but also to human limits. The wind seems to carry the faint echoes of the busy markets and the terrified cries of the final days. The story of the deep past is not just about death and ruin. It is a story of survival. The people of the lost empires did not all die out. They adapted, they moved, and they built new lives in a changed world. Their children eventually learned to write again, to sail again, and to dream again. The light had gone out for a while, but humanity, as always, found a way to spark a new flame.